Hello and welcome to Mike Talks Business. My name is Mike Jennings and I am talking business. My guest today is Byron Morris, and we are talking today about employment specifically. Byron is a heating engineer who runs a company called Avid Heating, and I met Byron several years ago at a networking event and we clicked. And pretty well since then, he's been servicing my boilers at my home, and he's a kind of person that I can trust to be in my house. So it's an absolute pleasure, Byron, to introduce you as a guest on my show. I thank you indeed for coming along. And our discussion today is going to focus on the issues around taking on your first employee. But before we get to that, Byron, could you perhaps please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about why heating engineering and why Avid Heating?
Well, thank you for having me, first of all. But yeah, I'm Byron. I run a company called Avid Heating in Oxford. I got into it purely for a friend of mine, actually. I used to be a courier for FedEx, and that was coming to an end. And a friend of mine was saying, why don't you get into gas? And I was like, no, you got to do the literacy stuff every 5 years. And I was just like, no. But I gave it a go. And what's that? 7 years ish later, I'm still here. So the business has been going for officially as Avid Heating 2 years at the end of this month. And I was previously Shore Gas for about 2 to 3 years before that. With Shore Gas, we won a few awards with Jack Offen's Brick Awards. But yeah, it's getting better and better, busier and busier.
What made you decide to start up on your own? What was the reasoning behind that?
I've always been driven to start my own company or do something on my own. So I think it was just one of those things that was going to happen. It's just in what field.
Yeah, and when, I suppose.
Yes, yeah, exactly that. And I think another thing that really, what really suits me with this role, I love to help people. So with this, I'm always helping people with their boilers breaking down and stuff like that. So it's kind of like my life calling as well, if you like.
Yeah. You're one of those people. I always like people like yourself who, when you come, you don't just fix what needs fixing. You see also what else might need doing, and try to make it as best the kind of system you'd like in your house. How you'd like it set up in your house.
Yes,
that's what I really like about it. And I found that running my own business, which is commercial property, I've always found that with the best people to have on board as suppliers or contractors, whatever it might be, are those that can add something rather than just doing a delivery or just providing a service. It's something beyond, which from your point of view would perhaps be called customer care, or you're looking after your customers or helping, serving. Because in the end of the day, we're all servants, aren't we? I serve my tenants, customers, and I kind of expect people who serve me to give that kind of service. And that's why I think we click so well, because we're on the same wavelengths regarding that.
Yeah.
So having started, how did you get your first, or build up your clientele? What sort of marketing did you do?
To be honest, I was. How do I start? I started off getting the not so good jobs. So I was sort of advertising everywhere. So I was advertising on something like the Daily Info. And what I quickly found out is advertising on certain platforms, you get a certain type of client.
Yeah.
So I end up getting certain type of work that I wasn't really getting paid for. So I quickly found out that certain avenues wasn't the best. But what served me in the beginning, which was really good, was Checker Trade. It served me really, really well because of the way their algorithm worked. It's not as good as what it used to be because they've changed their algorithm, but it really did give me a boost, Checker Trade.
Right. I know you've done quite a bit of networking as well in that time, and you I presume you got clients through that as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is a real good indication, for other people doing something similar to you, that this is a really good way to build up your business. And actually, I in all the mentoring work that I've done over many years, the majority of people build their business up through recommendation. It's not just who you know, but it's how you treat people so that they can recommend you. And that's why the way you treat people is so important, I think, in building a business, and perhaps why yours has grown so quickly over the last few years, which is great.
And Checker Trade is actually like a referral sort of program. So as soon as you get a good review, people see reviews. So it works on more or less exactly the same thing as people recommending you and stuff like that. Yeah.
So you built the business up, and you got to a stage. Obviously, your first difficult decision was to start the business in the first place. But as you said, you always wanted to do that. So having worked out what it is you wanted to do, it's always a big challenge, isn't it, to give up a salary and take a gulp and just go for it, working on your own. So that was something that you've obviously had to do, and then you get into the next stage of the business, having built it up, where you have realised, correct me if I'm wrong in all this, Byron, but you've realised that there's such a lot of work coming in now. You haven't got the hours in a day to do everything, and you make a decision at that point either to hold the business back and say I'm satisfied with what it is at the moment, and I'll just keep working the hours and days I can to generate the income for myself, or you say time's come to take someone on. I need some help, and that's something that the decision that you made. I guess that wasn't a very quick decision. I'm guessing that took you a long time between being overloaded with work, being stretched, and then thinking, I've got to do something about this. So tell us a little bit about how that felt for you.
So the first step that I took was I was working with an accountant, and things were just getting really busy with the phones. That's how it started. So I had a conversation with my accountant, and I was at the stage where I was working, I was picking up the phones, I was emailing, booking in jobs, all within my work time, and it was just absolutely ridiculous. It was just overloading for me. I couldn't do any more. There's still not enough time in the day, but there just wasn't then. So he recommended outsourcing my phone calls to a company, and I wasn't too sure, because I thought, right, that's going to be money that I'm not going to be getting. Can I trust these guys? Are they going to be any good answering the phone? But I took the leap of faith anyway, and we still got a good relationship now. They are absolutely amazing when it comes to the phones and stuff. They're brilliant. I still use them now, but that was the first step that I took.
Can I just step in there? Because are they the ones who set up that amazing system you got for bookings?
No, that was me.
That was you.
Yeah, I'll take the credit for that.
I just want to talk about that, because what you're talking about with someone answering the phone is a virtual office. What was standard is known generally as a virtual office service. Mm-hmm. So someone answering your phone, you can have someone, your post can be delivered there. You can have an address at an office somewhere, so it doesn't look as though you're working from home. And that's what a lot of people will do in business. And if anyone listening hasn't thought about that, this is a good example of how you can give the impression of having a bigger business than it really is when you've got someone answering the phone for you, and it takes away the hassle. Of course, that frees up your time. And with your phone always going on, when you've got a spanner around a bolt somewhere, and you put spanners around bolts, you do, don't you?
Yeah. But then I just think it's a little bit unprofessional as well. If you're what I was finding, I was doing a boiler service, and it's like, hello, running out to the van, getting in the diary, dropping it in. People probably looking at me thinking, he's supposed to be fixing my boiler here.
Yeah, exactly.
So we come across so much more professional. And I had a client last night that even said, we got talking. She was like, "Oh, what? Is it just you?" And I said, "Yeah, yeah." She said, "Oh, I thought there was like loads of you." And so, but we are presented as a big a big outfit, if you like.
As a customer, what I like is I get once I've sorted out an appointment, I get an email and a text message straight away confirming it. Then I get another one the day before as a reminder, and then I don't know whether it's you or I get a text message if you're going to be late, telling me I'm going to be 15 minutes late, and it's exemplary. It's exemplary. It's really, really helpful in organising my time and knowing when you're going to be there. So I just wanted to say that as a bit of a
no, thank you,
thank you, Byron.
No, thank you. I'm a big fan of systems. I absolutely love them, and I'm always adding, tweaking, and I absolutely love systems. So what I adapted was once I got the phones going, then I needed a system to back up the phones. And it took me it was a process going through that as well to find the right system, because there's so many out there. But the one that I'm using now, they're best suited. They're the best that I could find for the money, because I actually thought about building my own system, and that's just a whole different ball game.
Yeah. Sorry, but I interrupted you. You were going to go on to talk about the beyond.
Oh, the phones, yes. So we got Red on the phones. They're doing really well. And then it got to the next stage where even with the phones being taken away from me, now it's the emails and it's everything else. So just as I get more time back, I'm actually losing time as well. So it's like, I could be up till 11 o'clock at night doing emails and catching up and doing quotes and everything else. So again, I'm back to square one. So at this time, I've been working with on and off with business coaches as well for the last few years. And I was speaking with Joe, and I was like, this is just ridiculous. I haven't got any time to myself whatsoever. The thing is with me, I know what I need to do, but it's just having that somebody just to say, yeah, that is definitely the right thing to do. Yeah. So I was thinking I need to take somebody on, but have I got enough money to take them on? Are they going to be as good as what I can do it? All these things are going around my mind. Yeah. And what Joe said to me, she was like, right, okay, let's peel it back a little bit. How much time are you spending doing your emails and all that sort of stuff? And I'm like, could be 4 or 5 hours a night. Okay. And how much would that cost you if that was your time? How much is that going to cost you? It's like, I don't know, 300-400 quid. Okay, how much is it to employ somebody for like, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours a day or whatnot? Okay, it's going to be 120 quid.
Right.
Light bulb. Yeah. Okay, right, I got it. Okay, let's do it. Yeah. And then from there, it was like, let's start looking. So I said I tried putting out a few ads by myself. That didn't go very well because I had all the work to do, plus the emails, plus the quotes, plus looking through people's CVs and stuff. And I was like, right, that's not working. We need to outsource this. So we outsourced it, and we came across two potential people for admin roles. And I believe what I did is I picked best out of the two that I was given. Mm-hmm. And over time, once we employed the lady, we quickly found out that she wasn't the right person for the role.
So you took her on as an employee or outsourced?
No, she was on as an employee. So she was employed not to do a full day. It was just literally from 8 till 2. So it's like half a day, if you like.
So for you, a big step, taking someone
massive step. But it got to a stage where being under pressure and relieving the pressure, kind of outweighed it. So I was like, I have to relieve this pressure. Yeah.
And I don't think it succeeded. That particular employee didn't work out, I believe.
No. She's really, really nice. She's really good at what she did. But with me, I like things to be above and beyond. And
Yeah.
she just wasn't a right fit for what I wanted.
Yeah.
But she was really good. She's really nice. It was just that the way I want my business to be perceived wasn't the way she was kind of coming across.
Yeah. Okay. It's so hard to get a good fit, and yet so important, because the frustration within can be quite intense when it's your own business, which you would treat like you would your own child. So you can't mess with it. You have to do. So I get the sentiment. So you had to go through a difficult procedure, presumably, to ask her to say it wasn't working.
Yeah, that was quite tough. But once we actually had the conversation, we actually both realised that we wasn't a good fit for each other. And I think she was a bit relieved and I was a bit relieved. So it made things a whole lot easier.
Okay, great.
Yeah, go on. Sorry.
So I was going to say, then you started looking for someone else. It didn't put you off employing someone. You just felt you needed someone with a better fit.
Yeah.
So what did you do differently the second time round?
Well, I knew I made a mistake the first time, and I was ready to jump straight back in to start again. And the mistake that I think I made was I literally had two candidates, and I picked the best of the two, rather than waiting to see what else was out there. I felt like I was under a bit of pressure to act quickly.
Okay. Yeah.
Where what I should have done is just step back, wait for a bit more response, and then interviewed more people.
Yeah.
So next time round, what we did is that I kind of waited a little bit too long, I think. So we interviewed 5 people this time, whereas before it was only 2. So there's 5, and off the 5, one of them I knew straight away. I was like, and it was between 2 clients, two candidates. One of them, saying that, going back a little bit, sorry, the candidate that came through now is the same one that came through before. But the reason why we didn't give her the opportunity is because she was out of the Oxfordshire area.
Right.
When I reanalyzed it, I don't actually need someone in Oxford to do the work that I need to do. Because in my head, I was thinking, right, I'm going to have an office. I want them to come in, twice a week, meet the lads, with the team and all that sort of stuff. But thinking about, we don't need a big office. Everything that needs to be done can be done at home. You can build relationships over the phone. This big picture of this big office, I don't need it.
No. The world has changed.
Yes, it has. So yeah, going back. So she was actually based in Newbury. So because she was so far away, we was like, no, we want him in Oxford. So when we advertised again, we was like, we'll go a bit further afield. And she was like, she was looking, and it came up again. So when I spoke to her this time, I was just like, yeah, she sounds like the one. The whole impression, the way she was on the phone, she just, I came off the phone and I was like, yeah, she made me feel good, really bubbly. I really love that.
Yeah.
So I can't remember where I was going now, but yeah, on the back of that, we had 2 interviews. One of them was really highly skilled, which we thought she would really help the business drive forward. But there was just something that didn't click with her. And in the end, I actually had a second interview with both of them. And off the back of that just confirmed that we went with Debbie, who's now working with us now.
Brilliant. I love that, because that's a great lead into the next thing I wanted to talk about, which is employing people and considering attitude and aptitude. Or I should say that the other way around. Aptitude, can they do the job? And attitude, are they a right fit for the company and for the team? Right. And in practice, you have to have both. But the aptitude one, you can usually work out quite clinically by qualifications and experience. Can they do the job? Yes, they can, because they got the qualifications or they got the experience. Attitude, as you've just said, is something that you just feel, because you said it just clicked. She just clicked. There was something about her, her bubbly attitude and so on. That is attitude, and that is really, really important, I think, in any business, to have people who fit the team attitude, with what I would call values in particular, as you know. And a couple of years ago, I met a very senior solicitor I've known for many, many years, and he built his very big business up. And I had it was an event, and I hadn't seen him for a long time, and I said, "Oh, hello." And I said, I was just joking, "I thought you were retired by now. What are you up to?" And he said, I do all the recruitment for the company." I thought, oh my goodness, he's the senior partner, and he involves himself in recruitment. So that was really interesting to me. So I said, okay, well, and just out of interest, how do you do it? And he said, well, I recruit on aptitude, because obviously the legal profession you have to, but I employ on attitude. And I thought, wow, that's phenomenal. And that's just kind of the story you just told there. You put out an offer, and you got 5 people who came to the table. You were looking that they'd filtered out based on aptitude, presumably, and then you were looking for attitude when you were interviewing them. And that's kind of what happens, isn't it? And then you've picked someone who's going to really work for you.
Yeah,
work well for you. That's fantastic. And you're no doubt getting on well at the moment, and it's working.
Oh yeah. The thing is, from the first lady to now, the whole because we speak a lot, and the thing that's important for me is that whoever I work with, we're going to be working quite closely with, so we need to be able to get on pretty well. And I just noticed when I get off the phone to Debbie, I'm just like, cool, it's done. I actually come off the phone a lot lighter.
Yeah.
And she's already doing a whole ton of stuff that I haven't even asked her to do, but she's going above and beyond, which is what we do as a business.
Yeah. And I guess there's a very large amount of trust there.
Yeah.
Well, which is fantastic.
Yeah, definitely.
So your next stage, you free up some more of your time because of this.
Yes. Yeah.
Your next stage, assuming your business keeps growing, which I have no doubt it will, is to take on another engineer, presumably. That's going to be another challenge for you.
Yes. I'm looking forward to that one, actually, to be honest. Not. Yeah. So that's the next step. So ideally, this year would be really good. That's what I'm aiming for this year, to take on an engineer. This one, I know it's going to be difficult because there's so much to say about lack of good tradesmen, not just in my field, in all different fields. So this one is definitely going to be a challenge, but I'm the sort of person that I love a challenge.
Well, good luck with that, and no doubt we'll be talking a bit more about that between us as and when you come round. We chat, don't we? So it'd be nice to see how things are going for you. Brilliant, Byron. Thanks.
No problem.
I think that's been really interesting to hear your story and the issues around taking on your first employee. I just wanted to sort of summarise before we finished my take on this whole thing about taking on employees. And the first thing is to say that it is a huge issue for anyone who runs their own business. Okay, so you're not alone. I've met many people who face the kind of things you just described, and your bounce back from the first, what you called a mistake, is wonderful to hear, and an exemplar for other people. The fears that are associated with it, I'm not very good at plugging myself, but I did do a TEDx talk about this very subject, about the fears and excitement associated with setting up and starting and running your first business. And one of those steps, the step change, is taking on your first employee. So I talk about that on that TED talk. If any of the listeners would like to check that out, please do. The other thing is to note that I looked up yesterday on the Department of Business website, and it said that there are 6 million businesses in the UK at the moment. This is 2020. Maybe there's a few less now after the COVID pandemic. Hope not, but and also over 4.5 million of those are sole traders, like yourself, as was. What we don't know, though, is how many of those sole traders are holding back their growth because of the fears, the kind of thing that you've just been talking about, Byron. Because there's no doubt, even you were talking about, you hold back for as long as you can until you start to realise, oh my goodness, I'm still working at 11 in the evening and doing 4 hours of emails a night and so on. All that extra admin work where you're not earning, you do that for a long time, and that effectively is holding back your potential growth. I mean, how many other people are in that same predicament at the moment? And even if just 1 million of those 4.5 million could be eased, could make that process a bit easier, do the enlightened thing like you've done to have a coach to help you through the process, maybe 1 million new jobs could suddenly appear. So my question is, what could our government or our local authority, it's not to you really, it's an open question to the floor, what could our government or our local authority do to ease that situation for sole traders who want to grow? And locally in Oxford, what would the LEP, how could they get involved, and what could they do about it? So I mean, you don't have to answer that, but if you want to say something, please do, Byron.
I think the biggest thing for me is having a coach, and having a coach that you gel with and you bond with, because without my coach, both of them that I've worked with, they're both in the same partnership, but without those guys, I don't think I think I would get to where I'm going to go anyway, but I probably would have gone round the block 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times, where I've probably done it twice. Someone to have, someone that's been there and done it, to give you a bit of guidance and help you look at things from a different point of view. Because I think when we're growing, we're stuck in our own mindset. We need kind of people to help us come out of that mindset and think of it from a different point of view. And then when you get it, it's just like, why not think of that before? Or why not I just do it before? Because I know I've been thinking about taking somebody on for probably a year now. And it wasn't until I started getting the coaching again that I was like, right, first thing is I'm working all these hours, I need to cut this down. And it was like, right, what do we need to do? Just breaking it all down.
And like all things where it's the unknown, the fear of the unknown, once you've done it once, that fear lessens. The anxiety lessens. Well, good luck with the future of your business, Byron. I have no doubt you'll succeed. Thank you so much for being my guest today. It's a real pleasure to talk to you.
My pleasure.
And I particularly want to thank you for the openness that you've shown today and the honesty about talking about an issue which is quite a difficult issue to talk about. I think it's quite personal to business, and I really appreciate you talking about it. And maybe you talk about coaches. Maybe I could do a Mike Talks Business to for some business owners who've taken coaches on, to talk to them about what it feels like, how much the coaches have helped. So that might make an interesting discussion in the future.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. I would happy to. Thank you.
And just finally, to anyone listening out there, if you now know what this show is about. It's a chat show talking about different elements of business. And if you feel you've got something you want to talk about and would like to chat with me on the B4 TV at some point in the future, please get in contact with B4 or myself, and we'll see what we can do. Okay, thanks again, Byron.
Thanks a lot. Thanks, Mike.
Okay, bye-bye.